So why Mind Rein, R-E-I-N, instead of Rein, R-E-I-G-N? This is because R-E-I-G-N, reign like a monarch, a king, is about domination and force and power over. And when it comes to working with our system, that won't work. It never works. So it goes to the no force, go to the Keys to Success video for that. But we must work with our system, right? And so that's where Mind Rein, the reins like a horse, came in. Because even if we don't want our system to be the way it is, it is. And the best thing that we can do is learn how to work with it. So our system is a bit like a rider and a horse, and we need to trust our system like a rider needs to trust the horse, and as the horse needs to trust the rider. You'll find your system is more cooperative and works with you better when it feels safe. When we're forcing, our system does not feel safe. When we're working with it gently, we can establish that feeling of safety within, and then it's more willing to go with us and to work with us and to shift. And you can imagine, just like a horse, if it blows up and takes off when somebody's riding it in fear, right, in a reaction, our nervous systems are the same way, right? That can be dangerous. It's dangerous for a horse to be, barreling towards a cliff. And as it's also dangerous for us to have a nervous system that's just running crazy with fear, right? And so we need to be able to recognize and work with our system so that we have the reins, but we're working with. We're not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the horse or us, our system, right? So this is making choices that are kind to yourself, that are gentle with your system, not just trying to force your system to be different. And just like a horse, you can't just force it to suddenly be not upset. You can bring it into calm, but just like our system, we have to bring it into calm. My daughter is an example of the dangers of nervous systems running wild and not being able to rein them in. And so it's not always that kind of an outcome, but it is very dangerous. And so it's really important that we know how to bring ourselves back into calm. And when we work with our system, we learn to listen and listen closely and with compassion, to use tools and to learn and use tools that'll interrupt the amygdala and that cascade of reaction and that response, and that can bring us into calm, back into calm. And this applies when we've collapsed. If we've gone from fight and flight and we've collapsed into the hypo, it also can lift our system and bring us back into the ventral vagal, unsticking us from that freeze. So when we take the reins, we're not taking it to dominate ourselves. It's to build trust. And when we do this, we increase our ability to regulate our nervous system, our awareness of what state it's in, and then which tools to bring in and when. And so that helps us to regulate and manage our responses. It increases the feelings of safety with self, which is the most important kind of safety. It creates agency and empowerment, because when you feel like you're at the mercy of your nervous system, it's an upsetting and difficult, disruptive, and terrifying way to live. When we can bring our system into calm, then we know, like we feel this agency, like I have the tools. I know when my system is getting to this point, right, where I need to bring a tool in. And I know tools to bring in that will help me shift my state back into calm. That is very empowering. So for people, anyone who lives with a dysregulated state, you understand well that analogy of the horse running away and blowing up, and that imperative, like how critical it is to be able to bring yourself into calm. And so these tools and just this base idea of Mind Rein is a way of doing that. And it's like the reins are like, and the saddle, see it either way or both, are like the vagus nerve, right? They're the in between us and the rider. And so our nervous system is going to just respond, but the vagus nerve is what's, going to bring us back into calm, and it's going to a communication pathway about which state we're in. So work with your system, get to know your system. All the tools on this site are designed for that, and for interrupting, and for reestablishing calm. And from either direction, from bringing it down from hyper or up from the hypo. And when we do this, it feels better to feel like we have the reins, and we know how to safely guide this horse. So I hope that makes more sense, and I hope that you can carry some of that imagery into your life and allow it to help you when you're trying to force your system to be different. Can help you remember to just gently take those reins, and to do it with kindness, so that our system knows you're working with it, not against it. So